anovhura meso, anovhura nzeve, anogaya marigi. Kama kwetu.com, kama kwetu.com uzazaire. Kama kwe anogaya marigi.
Kama kwe uyo anotara mari anogaya mari. Garai mamunzwa paninyaya pano zvamunoda kunzwa. Zvinotaurwa pano madiko kumunzwa mugovane.com.
Right, 27 June 2022, and I'm joined by my usual guest, Senator Khaliphani Phugeni. How are you, Senator?
I'm good. How are you, my friend? And hello to our listeners, wherever in the world they may be.
Fantastic. So today we're going to have a very quick discussion. As you can see, I'm not in my usual setting, and I want us to look at the surprise announcement by Professor Mthuli Ncube today, which I found difficult to listen to. Economics, as they say, is very, very difficult. Senator, were you able to listen to the presentation by Professor Mthuli Ncube?
Yes, but I want to first of all pass my condolences to the family of Senator Mildred Ncube. She passed away this morning. Very close friend, mom, colleague, and everything. So it goes out to the family. I did listen to part of the presser. Maybe let me prefix what I'm about to say by this. I think by now, Zimbabweans know that much of my comment comes from a good place. I speak because I have a desire to see my country become a normal country. At this stage, it does not matter who can give us that, as long as we can have a normal country where people can put their money in the bank if that's what they want to do, or make short, medium, long-term decisions without the fear that in 2 weeks' time or in a month's time, or even in 2-3 years, things are going to change and change drastically. So with that, I would like to say Professor Ncube is a highly qualified individual. So as Zimbabweans, we are honored and privileged to have him as one of our intellectuals. Even when you look at his CV, the organizations he worked for and the positions which he held there, no Jack and Jill or a chancer can hold that position. So his competence is not in question. Let me put it to you that way. A very, very competent person. Having said that, the things he announced today, will they make a change in the economy? I doubt very much. They are not. So nothing is going to change. I was here just over a month ago, and we were talking about shops being banned using a parallel rate, and markets didn't move, shops didn't even change, not even for an hour. They didn't alter their prices for an hour after the minister said that in parliament. They were not concerned, they were not worried. They knew that the minister didn't mean what he said, and they knew that they lacked the political will to see this thing through. So there is no difference, even with what is announced today. You can go to Halstead's, you can go to whichever other shop. They will tell you that this product is $1. And then when you are paying with the local currency, they will tell you it's equivalent to 700 or 850. And they will do that with no consequences. They also know that the citizen also is docile because armed with what the minister said then in parliament and what he said today, you can actually go and open up a criminal case against an organization, but our people are not going to do that. In other jurisdictions, like I know where you are in South Africa, or today we're here together. In South where you are based in South Africa, I think the commissions, the competition commission, it finds these businesses. So the minister's office is able to calculate, for example, to say, okay, this company has been using a parallel rate market, which means they prejudice negatively consumers for so much, and then be able to fine that business more or less that much amount of money or even more as a punitive measure. He's not going to do that. Why is he not going to do that? Because he's also a businessman. All of these ministers are business people. Most of these MPs are business people. They don't want this whole playing environment to be fair. It must always be skewed in their favor. So nothing much is going to happen. What will change the economy of this country? And listen to me very carefully here. You gotta listen to me not only once, but listen to me twice. What is going to change the economy of this country is the confidence coming back to the economy. His Excellency has tried. He has spoken to almost everyone. He has spoken to opposition. He constituted Pollard and has done everything, and nothing has helped. So it leaves us with only one thing to do, is to at least sit down with the champion-in-chief of the CCC and try and work out something that is going to move the needle. Because honestly speaking, Pollard, with all their good intentions, it has proven that good intentions are not enough. The negotiations that has happened with other political players also, they have not moved anything. All these consultations with different sectors and stakeholders, they have not done anything. So you cannot then rule out the issue of saying, here is this person, he's not elected, he doesn't hold any government office or any public office, but a very necessary player nonetheless, because the embassies look up to him and they think that he is the solution. A large number of our people, they look up to him, they think that he is the solution. So why would you not give it a try and say, you know what, for the sake of the country, they don't even have to meet, by the way, both of them. They just have to agree that, okay, I'm going to deploy Professor Mthuli Ncube, and you deploy Honorable Advocate BT. They have a team of sci-fi sites or whatever. Don't send them here in Sandton. They've met a lot in Sandton. You can even send them as far as London, or send them to Rwanda so that they can see what can happen if a country has a consensus on what is good for their people. Or send them here in Zambia. You can see the wonderful things that happen in Zambia. And tell them not to come back to the country until they have an agreement. Until they have an agreement on what is the way forward for this country, economically wise.
Okay, Senator, you've said a lot, and I'm sure Chamisa is listening. He's going to understand what you're saying. And also, his friends are going to be very happy with that. And let me take you through what Professor Mthuli Ncube announced. And then let us try to unpack why you say the solutions that they're putting out are not the correct solutions. Firstly, Professor Ncube announced that the US dollar is now legal tender in Zimbabwe. So you can now buy using the US dollar. He announced that the interbank market is back. So banks are going to determine the rates among themselves. So from tomorrow, I'm sure this means the auction system is no longer going to be there. Then he announced that shops can now price their goods according to the new interbank market rate. So they're basically going to use the same rate that the shops are going to use. He's removed the levy on diesel, and he has improved. He said that there's going to be an improvement of imports of wheat and maize. And then obviously that leaves us with the big question of whether the auction is going to continue or not. And then he announced salaries and benefits for civil servants, the judiciary, parliament, and the health sector. So these were all announced as incentives, not as a salary. And then obviously the big announcement of interest rate now at 200%. That was also a big announcement. What I realized from all these announcements is that Professor Ncube, he does not seem to be taking into account the fact that there's an election next year. Do you think the government of Zimbabwe needs to do more, given that we've got an election coming up within the next 12 months?
Okay. By the way, nice look on a suit. I don't know if you're signaling something, but nice look. Now, I'm not the one for performative politics, but in this case, analysis. No, I'm not the one for that. So if it come out as if that was a message to NC and these people, tough luck. Now, this was the point that I was making. The 2009 to 2013, do you know why we did well as a country? I mean, by all indications, you can see the standards of living, the manufacturing indexes, and all those things. All those indexes, they were going up. They were not going up in a normal way. They just shot up. And I can tell you why. We had a hung parliament. And so whether they liked it or they didn't like it, ZANU was forced to work with the opposition. And as a result, you had sensible politics and decisions coming into play because they were holding each other accountable. At the end of the day, in 2013, that good economy, it gave ZANU a massive win. I think it was 2/3. So the point I'm making is that working, in this case, with the champion-in-chief of the CCC, does not necessarily mean a defeat for the ruling party. And it doesn't mean that they will be headed for a defeat. When people's bank accounts are full and their stomachs are full, their kids are at school, they are worried less about what is happening, they are likely to retain the government of the day. I will argue to say the status quo right now is the biggest risk to the government of the day. Because everyone is angry, everyone is frustrated because of pressures. Now, why I'm saying whatever the professor announced, and I'm happy that you had to go through it in detail, is going to fail. Because the prof made this whole thing worse. How do you allow shops to legally sell or benchmark their prices in the US dollar, and yet salaries are in the local currency? How do you do that? Now, he did not say we are going to strengthen the legal regime where those who are in violation of the official exchange rate are going to face the full might of the law. No, that one is just left relaxed. Like I'm telling you right now, me and you are in Harare. I'll take you tomorrow to the shops, and we're going to see something dollar price. And I'm telling you, Kambako, I want you to come back and report. At least you don't have to interview me. You have to come and report what I'm saying to you. We're going to go to the shops tomorrow. We're going to go and look at the shovel. And then we're going to ask the shopkeeper the exchange rate. It's not going to be the interbank rate. It's going to be a parallel rate. And he doesn't want to deal with the strengthening of the legal framework. To say you violate, there will be consequences. He's not dealing with that. People are earning in the local currency, which is under constant attack as far as inflation is concerned, and is not dealing with that. So, by the way, leave that nuanced excuse that I've just given. What I'm telling you is going to fail. The other reason why it's going to fail is how many times in the last 4 years has this minister intervened? It's countless times. And all of his interventions, they have come to naught. So just based on that reasoning alone, there's no prize in me saying he's going to fail again. He's going to fail. And so what we have in the past that has worked, it's when the opposition worked with the government of the day, or the winner, or whatever you want to put it, and we're able to come up with sensible policies, and we're able to bring confidence back. But as long as you have the winner takes all mentality, then nothing is going to happen. There is no confidence. You are in this country right now. I can bet you came into this country and your pocket is full of US dollars. You are not interested in this local currency. Why? Because in your mind, you know that a local $1,000 today, tomorrow it will not be worth 1,000. You know that.
Right, Senator, tomorrow I'm going to be in Zambia. And what I love about Zambia is that I can take my ATM card from South Africa and I'll insert it into a bank ATM and I'll withdraw kwachas. There is no way where I need to use US dollars in Zambia. They don't know US dollars. Yesterday, I was in South Africa. I needed to pay for baggage. I had $4. My baggage was $300. I had maybe a few dollars. I wanted to pay for baggage. They refused to take the dollars. They wanted me to change that money first into rands to pay for my baggage. There is respect for their currency in Zambia, in South Africa, in all other countries. What can we do to get respect for our own currency here so that Zimbabweans know that the currency works and not this US dollar, eco cash, in bucks, all these things that they have?
Yeah, because people's lived experiences have no relationship with how they vote. So as long as you still think that a party that has been in power since independence, I think it's how many years now, from 1980 to now, over 40 years, 42 or whatever now, and they are responsible for your misery, and you allow them to scapegoat sanctions. Russia received the worst sanctions ever imposed upon a nation. And right now, the ruble there is doing well. Do you know why it's doing well? Because they then said everything, including their most valuable asset, which is oil and gas, must now be bought in the local currency. Thereby strengthening the local currency, strengthening the demand for their local currency. It's a matter of demand and supply, right? So you came into this country right now, your pocket is now full of US dollars, not the local one. So basically, it's the US dollar which is in demand. If it's in demand, what it means is that it's going to be more expensive. And no one wants to keep the local currency. It's not in demand at all. Every time we receive our salaries, we rush to the shops, we try and buy, or we look for the nearest money changer, and we change that money to bring it to a reserve currency, which is the US dollar in this case. So when you're talking about respect, I think it's simplistic. It's not more about respect. It's really a survival issue, right? Now, if the government woke up in the morning and they were more concerned about the country, not personally preserving their own wealth and their own gain, and they were more concerned about the country, they will simply say all of our gold is now going to be bought in the local currency. All of our exports, people are now going to buy them in the local currency. Yes, they can be priced in US dollar, but you have to look for the Zim dollar and buy our things. You'll see the Zim dollar strengthen overnight. But they don't care about it. Do you know why? Because they've got homes outside the country. They've got their children outside the country. They've got their businesses, or their banking is outside the country. Now, this is the biggest indictment to this country. Let me tell you what is the biggest indictment into this country. One of the most richest people in Africa comes from this country. Ntate Strive Masio. Does he live in this country? No. When he was living in the continent, he wasn't even living in Zimbabwe. He was living in South Africa. And when he left the continent, he went to Britain. He's not here. What does that tell you about your economy? So it's a big, big challenge that the rich people, they don't enjoy. Those that drink wine from this place, they don't enjoy. Their beer from this place, they don't enjoy food from this place. They don't enjoy anything. Even the potholes, they are just putting up with them because they cannot be fixed overnight. But all of their expenditure, they make their money in Zimbabwe and they spend somewhere else, which is basically exporting jobs and exporting hard-earned money from this country. So I'm sorry to tell you this. It's supposed to be obvious, but I shouldn't even be telling you this. The measures that were announced by Prof. Ncube, and he means well, by the way, because there is a context he's working under. So he accepted the job, and I want to accept that he took this job trying to, in his own way, serve the people of Zimbabwe. But unfortunately, the conditions don't allow him to do what he learned at school and what he has been teaching all these students. So it's still going to fail. It's still going to fail. I'm sorry.
Okay, Senator, I want us to keep this very, very short. And I want to give you the last opportunity to respond to the issues at a very, very high level.
Okay.
We're going into election year. If you were the Minister of Finance, if you were the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe governor, if you were the campaign manager for President Idi Mnangagwa, what are the things that you would do to win this election going into 2023?
You see, I believed the president when he said no one and no place left behind. I really believed him. I think he means well. I think the challenge which is facing is to have people that can give meaning to the expression. I'm saying to you, Kamagwe, even as I speak to you right now, our people are deriving an income on a local currency, and they are expected to spend on using foreign currency. Just that. I can't understand for the life of me. Let me explain it to you this way. You are in South Africa. You are earning the rand, and you are told that when it comes to expenditure, legally so, you can use the Zimbabwean currency. So if you address issues at that level, let's just deal with that. If we deal with that, we are good to go. You deal with people in the rural areas who are earning a pension. The buses to come to the cities here are in US dollars, and they earn their pensions in the local currency. For them to go back, they end up owing the bus company. Those are the issues that just need to be addressed. So I am not convinced that there is a desire to basically mean what they say when we're talking about no one and no place left behind, because it's that simple. How is it fair that I'm earning in a local currency and I'm expected to spend in US dollars? Those US dollars are not readily available in my bank. I can't just walk into my bank and say I need US dollars because I need to buy bread and milk. They are not readily available. Where are they available? They are available in the street, in the informal market, which is open up for abuse and there's predatory tendencies to take advantage of the vulnerable. You see? So I know, make no mistake, you want me to predict what we must do to win and whatever. No. I want them to do things that benefit the ordinary folk on the street. Me saying this doesn't help me personally. You see that this whole thing of trying to be reasonable, trying to speak for the voiceless. It's even affected me politically. You don't even get noticed, even for the positions which you deserve. You are overlooked because you are not playing partisan. You are speaking for those without a voice. To sit here and start saying so and so must do this to win and whatsoever. No, my goal is not for them to win. My goal is for them to change the material condition of the most vulnerable in our society, is to make sure that if they are earning in the local currency, they should be able to get bread using the local currency. So the move today by the Right Honorable Minister is not a move geared towards helping the most vulnerable and the poor. It's a move towards helping the higher class, the ruling elite, and the bourgeoisie in this country.
Right, Senator, I've got a lot to say about what you have said, but I think today, let me leave it here. Let me not say much, because you see, when I look at the government of President Mnangagwa, I think they had a lot of opportunity here to do things very, very differently and not to be here where we are. The reason why I say this is that the week after President Mnangagwa became president, I drove back into Zimbabwe just to see. I'd left a week earlier, then I came back a week after. In 1 week, this country was different. 1 week, there was no police on the road. Everyone was following the rules without being told. There was a spirit and an air of expectation in Zimbabwe that things were going to be okay. And for the first 3 or 4 months, you could actually see opportunity in this country. This country's economy is working, except for this currency issue. I don't know why they are failing to fix this currency issue. So I always come back to it.
But it's a man-made problem. Remember, initially, we didn't even have the local currency. And then close to the end of President Mugabe's tenure, then they introduced this, initially the coins for the change. And then there was an African bank also backed limited amount of this currency. And when Prof. Ncube came in, he was completely against it. And as time went on, he has changed tune. That's why I'm saying he is not applying what he learned at school and what he has been teaching. He's been totally told that this is what we have. Work around this to make sure that this economy works. We have heard a lot about cartels and whatsoever. I'm not ruling out their hand in all of this. Unfortunately, the people of Zimbabwe, and largely I blame people in the diaspora, I blame people who are a bit exposed, like you and me. We should be spending too much of our time explaining to our grannies, explaining to our people in the rural areas, to say to them, look, this country will only change if you participate in that change. This whole thing of voting because you've been given 5 kg of rice and 2 liters of cooking oil after 5 years, it has to stop. It just has to stop. We have a role. We have a role as those that are exposed to information to tell them that this has to change. By saying that, I didn't say they must vote a certain party. Let me just explain this this way. In my constituency there in Bulawayo, there is a Chinese mining company that has been exposed, that has been forced to a certain place. So when they do their work, it affects the people around. They're extremely negative. Their houses are cracking and shaking and all those things. So then those people came to me and say, Honorable, please do something. I said, no, but unfortunately, I was here during 2018, and this is the person whom you chose. They said, no, we didn't choose this person. This person is corrupt. I said, no, but you chose this person. That's why this person is a cancer. I said, no, we didn't choose this person. We chose the party. I said, but well, if you chose the party, then why are you blaming this person? You must go back and blame the party because you chose the party. You didn't choose this person. So there is a problem in this country that we are always doing an either or a zero-sum game. There's hard work that we need to do. We need to be able that when the opportunity comes, which is coming next year, to choose, we must forget about parties and start to choose our own people that care about us, that care about the issues that matter to us. So for me, that's the only solution. With the minister, you can't do much about. He's appointed. He's appointed by the government of the day. So in his case, the problem is the government of the day. So you must choose another government. And people must begin to lift up their. Now I'm talking about the so-called intelligentsia and the business people and whatever. They've basically outsourced their activism to the poor, and then they get surprised later with the results. No, we need you on the streets. We need you on the streets. If we're saying we're marching, come on the streets. We need to hear your voices. Don't be silenced. The pastors, you can't be silent at this moment in time. Don't insult. No, I'm not saying insult. I'm not saying be rude. Like for example, if I may to give another example, when I'm saying HE and NC need to find a way to talk and have teams to deal with this thing. Maybe from the opposition point of view, they may start by simply acknowledging that he's the president. Maybe it's too much to say HE, they think it's too much, but at least acknowledge that he's the president. You can't say Mr. Mnangagwa. You see, it doesn't create a conducive environment for talks and allowing. So the point I'm bringing is that when this country works together, everyone benefits. And even when it comes to issues of legacy, I don't want to be a person who was in parliament and could not move anything that affected any of the people that I represent. But somehow I get to get a car, I get to get a house, I get to get a big tummy at the end of the term. It's wrong. You should be able to come to parliament, represent your people very, very strongly. Very, very strongly. There are very few of our colleagues here that you can mention, that you can say they stood up in parliament and they fought very strongly on our behalf. All of those things are wrong. But when our people, it's time to vote, they don't consider all of these things. They just wake up in the morning, Triple C, yeah, I'm a Triple C. They vote. ZANU, ITIFE, then they put, MTC, change, then they put. No, this is extremely important. When you are taking your child to school, you want to be sure that the teacher is qualified. You want to be sure that at the end of the term, your child has got content and knowledge that will move her or him to the next level. It's the same thing when you are voting for us. Why do you just vote for someone you don't know their capacity? You are wrong. So you are not victims, Zimbabweans. I'm not talking to you. You are not victims. You are complicit in this whole mess that we find ourselves in. You're extremely complicit and you're heartless because now our children are born into this massive debt when a country is so rich. It's just not right.
Right, Senator, I think you can go on forever, but I think let's bring this to an end. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
No, I want to say to our people, stop the killing, man. Just stop the killing. You have seen that the killing of More Blessing Ali, the strain it has brought onto our country, the negative publicity, and the strife and tension amongst our communities. This blood that is just being split like this, it's going to bring a lot of bad luck, not only to those people involved in these heinous crimes, but also to the nation. Stop the killing. Just stop the killing. Stop the hate. Stop all of this nonsense. It's enough. when you kill somebody, what do you get out of it? For whatever reason, what do you get out of it? You don't get anything. Don't be foolish like that child in the Bible, influenced by her evil mom who was angry because the prophet said to the king, don't marry your brother's wife. And she was asked to ask for anything, and she asked for the prophet's head. And that head was rotten in a few days' time, and she got nothing out of it. That's what happens when you kill innocent people. We're still for politics and politicians. Don't kill each other. Don't hate each other for politics and politicians. You need each other. All of you will be hungry tomorrow. All of your children will be poor tomorrow because of this useless hate. And the politicians and politics will go on. It will never change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator. And tomorrow, we're going to have Mr. Tinashe Jonasi obviously talking on the same issue. I want as many people as possible to react to these announcements by Professor Mthuli Ncube. I've got the full measures. I'm going to upload them on gambako.com within the next hour. Thank you very much, everyone, and good night to you, Senator, and to the listeners and the viewers.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Uyo uko kuno abo pano mamuona kere nai anovura meso anovura nzeve anokaya marigi Kambakwe.com usasaire
Kambakwe uyo anotara mari anogaya mari garai mamunzwa pane nyaya pano zvamunoda kunzwa zvinotaurwa pano madiko kumunzwa mugovane.com. Kambakwe vanogaya mari vanotaura mari vanosiya mari. Kambakwe vanotaura feya kuti pamberi zvichafamba sei. Vanhu muteerere zvikubatsirei mukufamba kwenyu zvikubatsirei. Mirai ndikudze kuti chokwadi pano chizere. Kambakwe vanogaya cash vanopa mafacts vanotaura straight vane evidence vane confidence plus intelligence
entertainment current affairs and news Kambakwe.com usasarire Kambakwe anogaya mari